What's up everybody, welcome to Money Management channel. My name is Andrei and today I'm gonna be doing an update on MMTLP and FINRA saga.
I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed, born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up.
And guys, we are under attack, and what is more important, Ralph Norman is under attack as well. And I wanted to begin my today's video with this news that John Bird released a Q&A with Sensi, and it is a quite interesting update in regards to our case. On top of that, I wanted to tell you that Richard Hoffman and Curtis made a live stream video for almost 2 hours where they explained a lot in regards to the recent updates of MMTLP story. But then, guys, I found this article, and this article made me very angry. And today's video will be for 100% dedicated to this article. And I have to admit that this article is another hit piece that was published in order to push our case down. So let's start from the very beginning. This article was published by guess who? Charles Gasparino. And he's the person who is trying to push our case down in Twitter, in X. And I have to admit that he doesn't have any success in this because our community is very strong. And some of our community members strikes back in order to push him down. And definitely with his power and his, let me show you that according to his Twitter account, Charles Gasparino joined Fox Business Network in February 2010 as senior correspondent, New York Post columnist, God Country. And I have to say that he uses his power in New York Post, and that is why we have this article. So, it is titled, Ralph Norman is down a massive rabbit hole after his latest meme stock conspiracy. And guys, I will read this entire article and I will give you my comment, and I will show you that this article is just a hit piece without any knowledge of our situation, of our case. And this person, Charles Gasparino, is miserable because of his efforts. So, let's start with this one. Ralph Norman is a bit off. So, the very first sentence is blowing my mind. Don't take my word for it. Do as I did and interview some GOP staffers who work with the Republican congressman from South Carolina, and they will walk you through some of his greatest hits. Among them, he urged former Trump chief of staff Mark Meadows in a text to institute something known as martial law, so the former president could stay in office after being defeated by Joe Biden in 2020. Spelling, among other things, isn't Norman's strong suit. I can go on and on, but I will stop at the latest bit of crazy town that Norman is embracing. Conspiracy theories involving a meme stock known as MMTLP. It appears that with all the things that really impact his constituents in South Carolina, migrants, the economy, inflation, terrorism, the congressman thinks there is something fishy going on between securities regulators and possibly some nefarious forces on Wall Street to rip off people who bought into this as the next get-rich scheme in so-called meme investing. And this paragraph is showing that he doesn't know anything in our case, because we have several lawsuits, we have even several decisions, several rulings from judges that there is a huge problem of naked shorting. And we know the confirmation from FINRA itself that at least 2.65 million shares were shorted at the time when this ticker symbol was illegally halted by FINRA. And we know, according to this press release that I covered just recently, that there is much more shares that were issued illegally, that basically was the counterfeit shares in order to push the price of MMTLP down. And we have a lot of evidence of it. Let me quote you further. He is calling for an investigation and hearings from House Financial Service Committee Chair Patrick McHenry. Norman is 17 his rep as a wingnut, who is also financially illiterate. So guys, okay, He is attacking Charles Gasparino is attacking Ralph Norman. But what about other, at least 74 Congress members who signed this letter that was prepared by Ralph Norman's office? Do you think that all of these people are financially illiterate? I don't think so. That is why it is another evidence that this article is nothing else but an attempt to push our case down. So, most people never heard of MMTLP, and many who have wish they didn't. It has a convoluted history, even if its trajectory followed a similar pattern in the meme area, a get-rich-quick scheme that eventually turned to dust. Recall how the memes retail investors who share trading tips on social media and then pile into stocks, piled into AMC theaters and the now defunct Bed Bath & Beyond. And he added this link, and this link leads to another article that was written by him, by Charles Gasparino. And in this article, he explains the story of meme stock insanity, so-called meme stock insanity. And yes, for now, I have no doubts that Charles Gasparino is a paid shill who tries to push our case down. And I have a lot of thoughts in regards to his article that proves my words. So, let me quote you further. That's what happened to those poor souls who in late 2022 began snapping up MMTLP, a preferred stock issued after a public company known as Torchlight Energy Resources. Not sources, but resources. He didn't even spell properly the name of this company. Did a reverse merger with something called metamaterials. The shares were designed as a claim on some oil and natural gas that is supposed to exist in West Texas. So, guys, that is supposed to exist in West Texas. Do you know that just 2 days ago, it was an exhibition, it was a NAPE exhibition where the next British hydrocarbons was represented. And guys, you can watch the video, the latest video of Bird Lady Roll Pigeons, where she explains the results of this exhibition. And guys, you know that there is more than 3 billion barrels of oil, and that is why, again, this article is a misleading article. So, let me move forward. Eventually, MMTLP would evolve into a non-tradable stock in a new private company called Next British Hydrocarbons. So, welcome to Crazy Town. Yeah, I know it sounds like a mess. Oil wells in West Texas, reverse mergers, a nonsense private company, and preferred stock that found its way onto the over-the-counter market. The so-called pink sheets where a lot of crazy stuff goes on. And it's get messier. Toward the end of 2022, the meme crowd, which gets most of its research from social media tools, go into MMTLP and saw it as the next great short squeeze. They would make a killing by buying up the floor and hold it until the bitter end when the shorts capitulated. So guys, again, he doesn't know anything about our community, and in general, the majority of MMTLP shareholders are the legacy shareholders who was the initial investors in Torchlight Energy and who hold their shares for several years. And that is why, yes, we definitely have some people who stuck with this illegal youth result and who intended to see the short squeeze. But the number of these people is close to zero. So, let me quote you further. Short sellers, of course, make their wick by betting stocks with declining value. They begin by borrowing shares, selling them, and eventually replacing the borrow with lower price stock. So, again, we know that a lot of short positions were transferred from the US stock market to foreign markets where SEC and FINRA doesn't have, well, they didn't want to see this number of illegal shares, and that is why it was so-called out of their service. But in general, the number of shares that were nakedly shorted in MMTLP is mind-boggling, and we know it because we have a lot of evidence of this. And I showed you this in my previous video, and I will show you this again in my upcoming videos as well. So, a squeeze turns the tables on the shorts, which is what the memes wanted. They began spreading tall tales on social media that they could crush short sellers by bidding up the price so high that the shorts would have to cover their borrow at ever higher levels. Let's just say things didn't work out as planned. First, the short sellers weren't that interested in MMTLP, it turns out. There was no squeeze like the one that took place around shares of GameStop in early 2021 and put a short hedge fund out of business. And guys, again, it didn't happen because of the U3 halt, and U3 halt was implemented by FINRA because of the huge problems of short position, of opened short positions by market makers, and that is why they implemented this rule. And basically FINRA violated their own Rule 6490. And previously they published two corporate actions that contradicted to each other, and that mentioned about the dates of trading, and they breached even these rules as well. So let me go to further. Plus, the memes didn't appear to read any company press releases or understand how stocks settle or some unique attributes of MMTLP. The meme crowd thought they could sell up to December the 9th to get the biggest bang for their buck. But MMTLP was set to dissolve into non-tradable shares of next breach on December the 12th, which means under the settlement rule you have to sell by December the 8th, or you'll get the non-tradable next breach stuff most holders didn't want. So, and again, why didn't he mention about the U3 halt? And without this mention, this article doesn't make sense, because it is a crucial part that violate all the rules of FINRA and SEC. So, let me quote you further. Those who tried to sell after December the 8th, and they are legion, if their cries on social media are any indication, were, as they say, sold. Their MMTLP turned into non-tradable shares of next breach. Oops. Norman has heard those cries, and he appears to think there's some grand scheme involved among the Securities and Exchange Commission and its sister energy, the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, and maybe some unscrupulous Wall Street types. Now he is demanding answers, even after FINRA provided him with pages of detailed answers, which, like the memes, he either didn't read or doesn't understand. So guys, you know that he's talking about the FAQs that was published twice by FINRA. And all of these so-called answers to the questions, they are miserable, because none of them are showing us the real shares, the real share numbers that MMTLP has right now. We know that initially it was just 165, roughly 165 million shares. Then it was added about 100 million shares on top of that, and it became 248 million shares. But it is just official numbers. But we know that it was illegally issued a huge number of additional shares that are basically counterfeit shares, and we know it basically by the fact that TradeStation admits it, that they don't have enough shares to cover the short positions. And it is only the first company, the first broker-dealer who admits it. That is why there is much more shares that it was issued officially. So, let me go to further. According to FINRA, it halted trading in MMTLP on December the 9th to make sure people didn't buy security that didn't exist. Sounds reasonable to me, though the agency should also have proposed mandatory investor education courses for anyone still complaining how they lost money on this boondoggle. And guys, again, the U3 halt that was implemented on MMTLP was made without any preparations, and it is extraordinary events that leads to this action. And by the way, FINRA didn't disclose the extraordinary events itself, and they didn't disclose the shear imbalance. That is why they just implemented it, and they hide behind the fence of their total immunity. And why in the world Charles Gasparino didn't mention about this? It doesn't make sense. So the last paragraph. To do something substantive, Norman must get buy-in from McHenry, who, like most Republicans, isn't a fan of the famously left-wing SEC chief Gary Gensler. That doesn't mean McHenry is keen on following Norman down any of these rabbit holes, MMTLP included. As one GOP committee staffer told Fox Business Eleanor Terrett, the leadership consensus on MMTLP is that it's a lot of smoke and no fire. And guys, this is another statement that was said in order to push our case down. So, sounds like McHenry also knows financial illiteracy goes beyond the meme crowd to include a certain member of his team. McHenry and Norman declined to comment. So, yes, we have this article, and in my opinion, it is another evidence that we are on the right path. And all of these puppets like Charles Gasparino, James J. Angel, Brandon Koch-Kodin, and Alexander Osipovich, all of these people who wrote these hit piece articles, they are paid shields in my opinion, and that is why we are about to see something big, because the more actions we have from our counterparties that are trying to push our case down, the more likely we are nearing the process of resolution. And that is why, guys, we have to push our case forward, and that is why subscribe to my channel, hit notification bell, and hit the like button. This helps me a lot. See you guys and girls next time. Bye.
I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, doing no cap. Only God wants you.